conflict escalating in the Middle East, it might seem as though peace is out of reach, but an Israeli and a Palestinian are working on a plan. Ehud Olmert was Prime Minister of Israel from 2006 to 2009. Nasser al-Kidwa was Foreign Minister for the Palestinian Authority from 2005 to 2006. And together, they've signed a joint proposal for a two-state solution and are hoping governments and the public will get on board. Their plan also calls for a ceasefire, the release of all hostages, a withdrawal of Israeli troops from Gaza, and a new Palestinian governing council there too. I spoke to Olmert and al-Kidwa earlier about their plan for peace. Former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert and former Palestinian Foreign Minister Nasser al-Kidwa, thank you both so much for joining me. So let's talk about your joint proposal for peace, both of you. I'll start with you, Mr. al-Kidwa. It does, there have been obviously many attempts at this in the past. It does seem like a strange moment to be talking about peace, given the escalation in the region. Why do you think what you and Mr. Olmert have put forward will work?
Well, it is a strange moment, I have to tell you, especially in the last hours. 2 or 3 days, maybe things got even bleaker and bleaker. I have to admit that. But when it is really dark, there is a need for the real light. And I think this is the real light. This is the clear position that suggests that the only possible solution for all those problems is the political solution. And the road for political solution is the existence of the two states, Israel and Palestine, living side by side on 1967 borders with a swap of territory, as Mr. Olmert proposed during his tenure, 4.4. We agreed upon this number. It is being understood that most of those territories for Israelis will be around Jerusalem to accommodate most of settlers, and it's being understood that for the Palestinians, most of this land will be in the form of a corridor that link between Gaza and the West Bank. In addition, of course, we spoke about ending the war in Gaza and the absolute necessity to do that, as well as the future status of Jerusalem. And we called upon people in office to continue negotiating and to reach final agreement, including important issues such as settlement, settlers, refugees, and additional security measures. Again, This might be a little bit odd, but it's exactly when things are complicated and very difficult that we need leaders that say with very loud voice that this is not the way forward, and the way forward should be the political solution and the establishment of peace between the two people.
And that does seem to be the key problem right now, Mr. Olmert, that there is no conversation about a political solution. The Knesset in July passed a resolution opposing Palestinian statehood. How can this work when there doesn't seem at this stage to be political support, at least from the current Prime Minister, for this to happen?
Had the attitude been the opposite, an overwhelming majority supported the two-state solution. Now, the Knesset would have voted for it. The demonstrations and the riots in the streets were in favor of the two-state solution. Believe me, you wouldn't have interviewed me, neither me nor Dr. al-Kidwa. The reason why we have emerged now with this initiative is precisely because it is now not popular, and if no one will raise it, if no one will have the guts and the courage and the vision and the horizon to say, hey guys, what the heck are you talking about? If someone really thinks that with a military power, with a military defeat of one side or the other, we're going to move forward towards a serious, stable, permanent, safe solution of the conflicts which have shattered the Middle East. He lives in a fantasy. At the end of the day, there is no alternative to a peace process. And if there is to be a peace process, there is no alternative to a two-state solution, because this is the only possible solution between us and the Palestinians. So it's not popular now, and it's not acceptable maybe, and there will be many in the Palestinian side as well as in the Israeli side will reject this and will criticize us and will condemn us, and it will not increase our popularity, both Dr. al-Kidwa and myself. But this is a first step that has to be made in order to move forward into a new reality. And we have to fight for it, and we have to reach out for world leaders to start to talk about it and to insist on having this as part of the international agenda. And that's what we're trying to do.
Yes.
As I said before, you asked me before we started, were we friends before? No, we were not friends. We didn't know each other. I heard of him, of course, a lot. And I guess he may have heard about me as well. But we suddenly found that there is the same desire that obsessed both of us, which is to move not in the direction of becoming popular in the streets or in the media, but in the direction of changing realities in a way that can make life safer and more significant for all of us, and that's what we're trying to do.
And Mr. al-Kidwa, how would the Palestinian Authority participate in what you're putting forward? Do you believe that they would be interested in this proposal, or would it be some other body that would be engaged in this?
Well, the Palestinian Authority, unfortunately, is not engaged, and unfortunately, it could have been possible for the president of the authority to reach that kind of agreement with Mr. Olmert in 2008, long time ago, and we would have, of course, avoided many bloodletting and many suffering on both sides. Anyway, what I think is necessary for this to say is two things. One is support by the public on both sides, Israeli and Palestinians, and even if it looks now bleak, I'm sure that with time and with the price of war becoming more and more obvious for both sides, the majority of the people will choose peace. And the second thing that is needed is support by relevant governments or relevant countries. And this is, of course, very important as well. And we are doing our best. We are working day and night to achieve exactly that by making it known to the public and by also trying to make it available to many governments as many as possible.
Neither of you are obviously in political life, in government right now. You're public figures and certainly putting pressure on people publicly. So, Mr. Olmert, what has to happen to make people look at your plan, which is some of the work that you've done when you were Prime Minister, but to make people consider it right now?
I think that we are coming very close to the point where people start to understand, both here and on the other sides, that is in Lebanon, in Gaza, in other parts, that the war leads us nowhere. Lead them and leads us nowhere where we can make a dramatic benefit that will change everything. We are not near a game changer of some sort. So people will start to ask themselves, okay, now what's next? Okay, we like from our side, we have killed all the Hamas fighters. No one remains. Yahya Sinwar has been targeted. All of them were killed. No Hamas exists under the sun anymore. There are still 6 million Palestinians. What are we going to do? How do we address ourselves to their needs, to their desires, to their dreams, to their hopes, to their prayers? We have to do something. Are we going to be occupied forever? Is it possible? Is it acceptable? Is it tolerable? Is it something that we can afford ourselves morally to carry on forever? Of course not.
Former Prime Minister Ehud Olmert, former Palestinian Foreign Minister Nasser al-Kidwa, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.